pull apart. Your case doesn't start when you get trial dates or you get appearance dates. That's not when your case starts. You know when your case starts? The second you're indicted. You have to pull that discovery the minute you're indicted. You have to make sure the attorneys are going through it because there's going to be a lot of preparation that's needed. This last case, my firm, I worked on it for 2.5 years. 2.5 years, pulling apart everything. Over 8 terabytes of information, extrapolating it, sorting it, putting it in order, pulling out what works for us, trying to even find anything. Our client had nothing, zero. There was nothing, and this investigation went on from the year 2000 to 2017. The client, Stephen Crea, who's also my father, and that's why I'm so personally vested in this. There was not one audio call, intercept, bug with his voice on it. Not one. In 17 years of investigating, not one. That, to me, that sums it all up. There was over 90,000, I believe, 90,000 audio files, tape calls, informants wearing wires, bugs in cars. Stephen Crea was not on one of those things. Not on one of those items. But yet, they still get a case and they still bring it against him. Does not know the witnesses. All these witnesses who are supposedly saying he said this. There was not one witness who had a direct statement that supposedly came from the defendant, Stephen Crea. Not one witness was able to get on the stand and say, oh yes, he told me this. That's not how it went. Every witness that related to him, this is how it went. I heard from so-and-so that they said Steve Crea said this. So I believe that's twice removed hearsay. Twice removed hearsay, and that's allowed in the court of law. You didn't hear it directly. You're saying you were told this by somebody else who supposedly said it. Now, does that make any sense to anybody, logically? Okay, you want to bring in real evidence? Bring in some calls. You've been investigating for 17 years. Bring in some calls with his voice on it. Bring in a bug. I don't know, you want to say they have places where they hang out, that the defendant was in a social club. Bring in the bug from the social club. What happened in there? Where's his voice on there? Nothing. They had surveillance. Another big sticking point that I couldn't wrap my head around, how the jury didn't really see this part. They had surveillance of this club, that they tried making this club very sinister, that supposedly you had to be a member of an organization, a secret society, to even gain access to the club. That was their narrative throughout the whole case. So what does the defense do? The defense pulls the surveillance that they played at trial, and obviously the portions they play just showed our client entering the club and exiting the club. But they left out a lot of other things. You know who else was entering and exiting the club? Older ladies. A lady with a child going in, bringing food. People off the street walking in. It was a social club similar to, the Lions Club or Italian American Civic Associations. There's many different types of clubs, social community clubs. It was very similar to that. And throughout the whole trial, they were saying no women were allowed. What do we present? Inside pictures of the club, showing not one, not two, not three, but several women in there playing cards, eating, watching TV, socializing. But none of that meant everything. They glossed over that. And in 17 years, that's the evidence you have. You have a few surveillance photos of him going in and out of a club. You wouldn't believe these things unless you go through it. And what it really boils down to is when they target someone, this is how they operate. And it doesn't matter who it is. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing a big push for is I'm seeing the same kind of theme with minorities and with Italians. It's almost the same type of theme. And it's crazy. It really is. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't grasp it because they don't go through it. But you see these people who they spent 20 years in jail. And then, you know, something comes out, how, you know, they were basically set up and they say, okay, go ahead. You could leave now. You're out. And they think they can make that person's life whole again. They think they could do anything to give him back or her back the time they lost. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. And things got to be changed. And honestly, in my opinion, the only way to change it, they could go for whatever bills they want and whatever laws they want to enact. None of that's going to mean anyway. The only way to change it, in my opinion, you have to educate the jurors. The jurors have to realize what they're being faced with prior to serving on a jury panel.